Morning, everybody. My name is Ryan Holliday. I am the co-founder and chief revenue officer for iink. We are a digital payments platform, a financial platform, if you will, for restoration professionals. And I'm very excited to be here in Salt Lake and be on this tour because it's heavily tech focused. How many people in this room believe that this industry will be more than 90% digitized in the next 5 to 10 years? Raise your hand. You know, it's interesting, during Mike's conversation when he was talking about the wave of technology coming through, I glanced through the room and saw more than half the room, almost 22 people had looked at their phone at least once in the span of 2 minutes while Mike was talking about how technology is taking over an industry. And so whether you believe it or not, it's going to happen. When I got started in the industry, it was back in 2016. We didn't have any of these tools. We didn't have iink, we didn't have Roofle, we didn't have the drone technologies that we have today. And so fast forward 7 years now, many things are becoming automated. What I realized back then was I needed to save as much of my time as I possibly could if I was going to be effective, if I was going to go out and start scaling up my efforts. You can only cap out so high as a salesperson in this industry if you're still running around town and doing all this manual work for money. That's what I was doing. I was chasing checks. So I got sick of it. My business partner, Ken, got sick of it. He was a public adjuster. We were sick of chasing the money. So we decided one day, let's come up with a better way to do that. And in that lesson of building a company and starting iink from the ground up, it's all about how much time do I have in a day and where can I apply that time. So Benjamin Franklin wisely said, time is money. It's probably the reason he's on the $100 bill. How do you calculate the value of your time? And it's pretty simple. You want to take 40 hours a week, 52 weeks in a year. It's 2,080. So 2,080 total hours in a year. So let me give you an example here. Rick's Roofing completed just about 1 million in roof jobs and had a yearly net earnings of 172,000 after all business expenses, payroll, taxes, and insurance were paid. Because if you do $1 million in business as a roofer, right, you're not really making $1 million. You're doing $1 million in revenue, but you got a lot of expenses. You got to pay your labor. You got to pay your materials. You got to pay for all your administration, right? So what's left after that? It's your net revenue. And if you take that and divide it by 2080, that's what your dollar per hour is, right? So figure out what your dollar per hour is, and you're going to start to realize, should I be spending my time on this or that? That's when you begin to scale up in your mind your business by scaling up your capabilities through time. So understand that time spent equals cost, not time added equals more money. So if everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, then why do some succeed and most fail? And the number one reason, you heard it earlier, number one reason that contractors go out of business is cash flow. And it's because the majority spend their time doing things of less value than the ones who succeed. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. The reason I talk about the value of your time so much is because our biggest competition at iink is the status quo. You know how much I hear a contractor tell me all day, I can do that same thing. I get that check back in 2 weeks from the mortgage company. Okay, well, if you want to call the mortgage company and pay for the label and fill out all the paperwork and send it off and do all that stuff, fine. But wouldn't you rather be building roofs or selling roofs? Wouldn't you rather be making more money? Moral of the story is, just because you can't do it doesn't mean you do it. So what can I do to improve the way my business operates? Well, number one, calculate your time and your team's time. Just because you have somebody in the office that is taking care of a task or something that needs to be done for your company doesn't mean they should be doing it. They could be more effective doing something else, bringing more value to your business. Do you want them sitting on hold with Bank of America for an hour to find out where your depreciation check is? Or do you want them following up with your customers and getting referrals or soliciting reviews? Plan to scale or plan to fail. And if your business can't run without you, then you don't have a business, you have a glorified job. Everyone should spend time adding value to the business, seeking referrals, getting reviews, tracking and analyzing data, understanding what's working, what's not working, so you can do more of what works, and not just the busy work, like I was saying before. If you're the owner of the business and you're doing 5 roofs a week and you're telling me I'm crushing it. But I take care of all my accounts receivable. I fill out all that paperwork. I do all that stuff and make sure all the checks come in, into the office. Well, you're really not growing your business as good as you could be. You could be doing 10 roofs a week, 15 roofs a week. But you can't scale up until you understand the value of your time, what it's worth, and where you should apply it. Strive to be 1% better every day. And after a year, you'll have improved 3,740%. It's compounding. Just 1% a day. Imagine what that would have meant for Rick's Roofing in that example earlier. If he was doing $1 million a year, he improved 1% every day. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We're going to turn it back over to Leanne and the team here. And for those of you that want to start to save time while you get paid, come see us over at the iink booth.